Well, we had a really cold night last night, but I checked our fruit trees. I think they're okay, and I covered the peas so we know they're okay. What Al just took a picture of is our chokecherry tree, and we've had it about 3 years now, and it is really coming into its own. I love those little white blossoms. We have quite a few tulips that are now in bloom, and they're kind of sweet. If you take a look over here at this patch, we've got some reds and some yellows. I love the tulips. And then coming on over here, this bed is our west front bed, I call it, which kind of includes this. But this is a north-facing bed down here, and as you can see, it's all full of hostas. That's all I've got in here, and they're starting to come up. I was thinking about dividing them this year, but due to constraints, we're leaving them all alone this year. This bed here is primarily a perennial bed, and it's just starting to come up and come to life. Over here, this little tiny tree that you see here is a dogwood tree, and I got it it was that big, just a little twig from the Arbor Foundation.
About 6 inches tall?
Pardon?
About 6 inches tall?
Yeah, and it looks like it's a little funny from I don't know if it's lack of water or the cold, but we're going to have to start watering from our house water if the irrigation doesn't get turned on pretty soon, because everything is really dry and this wind is just taking it out. Down here we have this is an easement for the power company, so we have this lovely container here. So what I have done, this doesn't look very good now, but take a look at it now and you'll see it later on. This is a kind of a natural wildflower bed, and there's poppies and bachelor buttons and stuff like that. So we'll have to see if they all come up again this year. Now we're going on the other side from where we were with the chokecherry tree, and you can see I've got some ground cover here that's doing really good. Some basket of gold that could do better. Here's some Canterbury bells, and they kind of spill over. This is a really invasive geranium, and I keep whacking on it, but it keeps crowding things that way. I'm thinking I may move it, but not this year. This is my Chinese poppy, and I don't know, it's kind of interfering with our sprinkler there. We may have to do something about that. I guess I planted it not in a very good spot. And then, of course, our lavender. Take a look at this euphorbia. This right here is euphorbia, and I don't know if any of you have grown them, and I just kind of got this by chance and planted it right in the rocks, and it loves it. And come to find out, euphorbia likes really free draining, not real nutritious soil, and it likes to the roots to be kind of constricted but free draining. So this has turned out really good. The only problem with euphorbia is if you cut it, it has this white substance that leaks out, and it's very caustic to the skin. So you have to be very careful working with it, but it just fits this spot. So I'm going to leave it alone, and I'd like to have more of them. We'll just have to see. If you take a look over there at the garden, you can see that I drug out the tunnels because it was going to be cold last night, so I protected our peas. We'll see if that helps. Might be kind of fun to take a look. One of the things I've been trying to focus on is trying to see what I can do more naturally and focus in on the pollinators and the other bugs. And so this is my little experimental flower bed, and I've probably talked about it before, but it's kind of fun to look at it this spring and see how it's doing. This is a butterfly bush that came up naturally. I guess the birds must have brought it in. Back there we have two syringa bushes, and they're coming along nicely. So what I've done is I've tried to plant drought-resistant plants in here that will, I do have a soaker hose just because the plants were new and I wanted to get them started, but we don't water it very much. This is a choke cherry bush, and it is going crazy. So I'm quite pleased with this stuff that's coming up. Here we've got a couple of Russian sage, and as you can see, they're starting to come. There's another choke cherry bush. A few little miniature iris. I love this color. So we're going to see how that goes. And then I continued back here where I have no water at all. And I suppose because they didn't get water, these guys aren't blooming this year. But that's okay. I like the leaves. They look kind of cool. I'm going to leave them alone. This is kind of a desert wasteland. This is a little eastern rosebud that's, I think it's getting some leaves on it. This I got at the same time from the Arbor Foundation. And then I have a little, this is a little dogwood bush. We'll see how it does. We took a real heavy prune this year on the lilac bushes, and I'm real pleased. They seem to be happy. They are really going to bloom this year, and I love lilacs when they're blooming.
While you go over and show the peas under the tunnels there, I want to just take a look at my Egyptian walking onions are going crazy. And we've been harvesting on them since the 1st of March. The first shoots came up through the snow, and they are excellent salad greens, and been using them daily, sometimes twice a day. Last night Gretchen put the tunnels on these to kind of protect against frost. And of course, these are peas, and they're pretty hardy anyway. And it looks like good. Things worked out pretty well.
There's a volunteer lettuce.
A volunteer lettuce.
And I've got some
looks like these
radish.
are fine. Yes, yeah. Looking good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I think I'll leave that on. We've got another day. They're predicting 35, and it could get to freezing again. Sure. Last year, I got kind of a wild hair and totally redid this part of the flower bed around the pond. And it's starting to come into its own. I've got some hellebores coming in. I've got some Cacosmia Luther over there that are just starting to come up. So far I'm pleased with the way that it's looking.
And these are my favorite tulips of all, the color. Just love it.
Yeah, they are looking good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're looking real nice.
Those were some little tulips that weren't doing good out front, and I dug them up and put them in the strawberry bed for a couple years and fed them real heavy, and then moved them last year. And I think I've done a pretty good job bringing them back on their own. Done a little bit more work in the greenhouse. I was doing some weeding, and I had to dig up a plant. And so I've got a whole bunch of these little starts over here that I planted. So I'm quite pleased with that. My peppers, I've now got them all planted. And so, but the pride of the whole thing is this. This is my dahlia that is just going crazy. All of the dahlias are doing pretty good. This was just a little tiny bulb, and it's doing okay. It'll make a nice plant someday. So let's see, what else have we done in here? Oh, here's some more peppers. These are the poblanos that I just planted. And they seem to be doing pretty good.
And
Here's some more of the stuff that I dug up and transplanted.
And the tomatoes continue to go like crazy.
And the tomatoes are blooming like crazy. The one that we carried over is starting to bloom. I cut this way back.
Yeah, that's the what, Sweet 100, isn't
Sweet
it?
100, yeah.
Maybe I'll do some cut-ins.
They are so pretty.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the beeties from Gretchen's Garden and Greenhouse saying so long for another week. See you next week. Take care now.
Bye.